Imagine this, you go to sleep in your home. Your family, your life, your job is on one side of the city. Suddenly, the next morning when you wake up, there is a wall between you and everything you know. No warning, no vote, just some bunch of soldiers and barbed wires. This is exactly what happened on 13th of August 1961 in Berlin. So let's understand the strange story of Berlin Wall in this episode of The Other Side. To understand the Berlin Wall, you need to go back to 1945. World War II ends, Germany is defeated. Now the entire country is carved up into four occupational zones controlled by the United States, the Great Britain, France and the Soviet Union. Now here's where it gets complicated. Even though Berlin lies deep inside the Soviet controlled territory, it is also divided into four parts. Soon this divide becomes ideological. West Berlin, which is controlled by United States, becomes the center of capitalism and democracy, whereas East Berlin, which is controlled by Soviet Union, becomes the face of communism. This wasn't just a city split. This was the front line of the Cold War. Tensions rise quickly. In 1948, the Soviet Union tries to push or force the West out of Berlin by blocking all the road and rail accesses. This is the Berlin Blockade. But the West answers with something very unprecedented, the Berlin Airlift. For 11 months, planes were used to deliver food, fuel and supplies for the West Berlin, trying to keep the city alive. The message was very clear. Berlin wasn't just a city for the West, it was a symbol. By the 1950s, a silent crisis begins. People start leaving East Germany in huge numbers. Between 1949 and 1961, around 2.7 million people escaped to the West. And they are not random, they are engineers, doctors, teachers, skilled workers. This is called a brain drain. For East Germany, this was an economic disaster. But for the Soviet Union, it was something worse. Proof that people are voting with their feet against communism. Then comes the breaking point. 13th of August 1961. At midnight, East German troops move in. Streets are torn up, train lines are cut, barbed wire is rolled out across the city. No one can cross anymore. Families are separated instantly. Over the next few days, this temporary barrier becomes permanent. Concrete slabs rising into the city. The Berlin Wall is born. But this wasn't just a wall, it became a full security system. A 3.6 meter high concrete barriers, 300 plus watchtowers, armed guards with shoot to kill orders, and a death strip with filled sand, floodlights, and traps. East Berliners couldn't just leave, they were trapped. Still, many tried. Some dug tunnels, some hid behind a car, some even used hot air balloons. But over 140 people died during this process. The wall didn't just divide a city, it divided families, dreams, and futures. By the late 1980s, things started to change. The Soviet Union was weakening under Mikhail Gorbachev. Across Eastern Europe, protests were growing. East Germans started demanding freedom. Now comes a historic moment. On 9th of November 1989, an East German official during his press conference accidentally announces that citizens are free to travel across Berlin. Immediately, people rush to the wall. Thousands gather. The guards, confused with no clear orders, step aside. And just like that, the wall that stood for 28 years came falling down. Not with war, but with people. The Berlin Wall isn't just history. It's a lesson. It shows us that governments can restrict freedom to maintain control. That ideologies can divide societies more than borders ever could. And most importantly, when enough people demand change, even the strongest systems collapse. Even today, countries build walls, control borders, censor information, restrict movement. But the Berlin Wall reminds us that you can stop people temporarily, but you can't stop the idea of freedom forever. They built a wall to keep people in, but in the end, it only proved one thing: people are always meant to break through. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you liked the video. If you enjoy watching our content, please do subscribe to the channel, because we are going to break down geopolitics and economics in a way that makes sense for all of us. See you in the next one soon. Till then, stay happy, stay diplomatic. This is Dev this side signing off. Peace.